Patience. Attention, stations on the network. Our broadcast will begin in 5 minutes from my mark. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. That was your 5-minute time check, stations. Attention, stations on the network. Our broadcast will begin in 2 minutes from my mark. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. That was your 2-minute time check, stations. Attention, stations on the network. Our broadcast will begin in 1 minute from my mark. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. That was your 1-minute time check, stations.
on the Hawkeye Sports Network from Learfield. Live from View Rooftop at the Hilton Garden Inn in downtown Iowa City. This is Hawk Talk, brought to you by Steel. This fall, power up with Steel, a proud supporter of the Iowa Hawkeyes. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. U.S. Cellular, the official wireless partner of the Iowa Hawkeyes. U.S. Cellular, built for us. Iowa Corn. You might think Iowa just grows corn, but the truth is, corn grows Iowa. Brought to you by Iowa's corn farmers of the Iowa Corn Growers Association and the Iowa Corn Promotion Board. Your Iowa John Deere dealers. John Deere loves to see the Hawkeyes do their thing, because if anyone can appreciate building a legacy, it's Deere. Also brought to you by your local Ford dealers. University of Iowa Healthcare, changing medicine, changing lives. Lennox and your local Lennox home comfort specialist, made right here in Iowa since 1895. And by Mid-American Energy. Mid-American Energy is proud to deliver affordable, reliable energy to you all season long. This is Hawk Talk with Kirk Ferentz. Here's Gary Dolphin.
And good evening, everybody. Welcome into View Rooftop. Downtown Iowa City, we're at the Hilton Garden Inn per usual every Wednesday night. We've got two teams, Iowa and Minnesota. They've knocked each other around the gridiron for the better part of 120 years now. Two coaches, Kirk Ferentz and P.J. Fleck, are the longest-serving field generals in the Big Ten. Ferentz owns the most extended resume, of course, in all of college football, 26 seasons and running. This rivalry includes one of the most recognizable trophies, the bronze pig that is Floyd of Rosedale. You know, old Floyd, think about this today. He's been munching on Iowa corn for the better part of a dozen years now, 10 of the last 12 to be exact. And the porker is on the line again Saturday when the Hawkeyes play host to the Golden Gophers at Kinnick Stadium. Kickoff is set for a little after 2:30. Both teams scored big victories at home last weekend, and they are 5-2 for the season, 3-1 in the Big Ten, and in a 7-way tie for third place, chasing front-running Ohio State and Indiana, who are 4-0. So to say it's a logjam in the 18-team Big Ten Conference would be an understatement of a huge magnitude, but still a long way to go. This is the point of the season where the front-runners, the middle of the pack, start knocking each other off with all these great traditional trophy game rivalries. And Saturday's game over at Kinnick is the annual blackout, so wear your best black. That shouldn't be too hard to figure out. Just grab your black trousers because I don't know that it's going to be shorts weather on Saturday, but it's supposed to be decent for this point in October. But wear your best black, they say. Minnesota leads the all-time series 63 wins to 53, but the Hawkeyes have won 9 of the last 10, including last year's 31-14 decision up in the Twin Cities when All-American running back Caleb Johnson galloped for 206 yards, most of those in the second half. Now this year it's been running back by committee. The Hawkeyes have rushed for 200-plus yards the last 2 weeks at Wisconsin and against Penn State last Saturday. They've hit that marker 4 times in their 7 games this year. Iowa's averaging 193 yards on the ground. More of the same, please. And, of course, most of that coming from, at least last week, quarterback Mark Gronowski. He has a team best, try this on, team best 10 rushing touchdowns. That's third most nationally and tied for the most among quarterbacks in the country. And keep it up, Mark. I don't care how you get to the end zone. Running, throwing, reverse sweeps to Caden Weegan. It doesn't matter to me. This is the Wednesday Hawk Talk with Coach Ferentz live from View Rooftop. And we say good evening to everybody listening in on the Hawkeye Radio Network around the Midwest. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Gary Dolphin here on the Hawkeye Radio Network. Maybe you're here watching at View Rooftop or checking us out on KCRG Channel 9.2 around eastern Iowa and central Iowa. We're at View Rooftop for the next 90 minutes, and we'd love to have you swing by for a beverage, maybe a burger or an entree or all three. In fact, stay the night if you'd like. View Rooftop at the Hilton Garden Inn in downtown Iowa City. We'll take your phone calls. We'll take your text messages, I should say. We'll take your on Twitter. We will greet you on Facebook. Let me give you the addresses. On Twitter, if you'd like to send Coach a question or a comment, it's at Gary Dolphin. Twitter is at Gary Dolphin. Facebook is facebook.com/Voice of the Hawks. On the U.S. Cellular text line, you can reach us at 319-853-8344. 319-853-8344. And you can even email us your inquiry or your question to hawktalk@HawkeyeRadioNetwork.com. hawktalk@HawkeyeRadioNetwork.com. If everybody in View Rooftop would do that just one time tonight, we'd have plenty of really good questions for Coach. We've got a bunch already on Twitter and Facebook, but we've got room for yours. And if it's not dated, we'll save it till next week. And yes, we will have a show. We will have a show. Next week's a bye week, the second bye week. But we have a show scheduled for next Wednesday, so please come on out next Wednesday, and we can talk hopefully about a big win over the Minnesota Golden Gophers. You can join us every Wednesday night for Hawk Talk and stop by on football Saturdays, too. Want to emphasize that here at View Rooftop. They've got plenty of flat screens and the Hawkeye Radio Network beaming in here to treat you entertainingly if you don't have a ticket to the game. Hawk Talk, stop by View Rooftop this Saturday for a new experience unique to Iowa City, where you can immerse yourself in an invigorating environment with comfortable contemporary indoor and outdoor seating, high-definition televisions for watching the game, game day specials, and live music. Enjoy the camaraderie and celebrate with a toast at VUE, View Rooftop, at the Hilton Garden Inn in Iowa City. Call for reservations. That number is 319-519-4650. 319-519-4650. Well, this is a rivalry game. It's a trophy game. The Hawks brought the Heartland Bull back to Iowa City with them a couple weeks ago, and hopefully they can do it again on Saturday and keep Floyd here in eastern Iowa. Floyd, was born and raised up near Fort Dodge, so he is an Iowa native. And I know he would love to stay for another year. Mark Gronowski on his knee coming out of last weekend's big victory over the Penn State Nittany Lions. How'd he weather it?
It felt pretty good on Sunday. It's still not back to 100%. Still trying to rehab, be in the training room as much as possible. But it still continues to progress and still feels better every single day I come out here and practice. And it's always difficult when you're playing so many games in a row. And what I'm looking forward to is this bye week coming up next week. Obviously, we still have to focus on this week, go 1-0 this week. But I think that bye week's going to be huge for my health, a lot of other guys on the team's health, and hopefully get back to 100%. That's my plan. So.
Mark looked outstanding. He had 130 yards rushing on 9 carries. That's the best for any quarterback this season. On his 67-yard run up the middle, he was trying to get 5-6 yards, then hit the turf. All of a sudden, he had wide open spaces in front of him. Of course, that set up the game-winning score to Caden Weegan. Cajun, he was trying to catch him.
Not expecting that. I was running a bubble on the other side, and all of a sudden, I'm like, holy crap. He's flying out the backside, and I was calling him Lamar Jackson during the game. He was flying around, but obviously that set up the touchdown, so that was pretty sweet to see.
What did he say he was calling him? Mark Jackson? Oh, Lamar Jackson, Baltimore Ravens. Caden Weegan has a great sense of humor, and he's also a pretty good football player, and he had a solid game as well. He was the one who scored that touchdown on that jet sweep wide side to short side. Guy has such a phenomenal change of direction that he blew by that defensive end. He was grasping at oxygen. So it was a great ending to a great victory over the Penn State Nittany Lions, and hopefully more of the same coming down the road. Plenty of games remaining. The Hawkeyes have a bye week this week, and then they'll welcome the Oregon Ducks to Kinnick Stadium for the first time, I think, forever. I don't think Oregon's ever played in Iowa City. They may have played in a Rose Bowl back in the 50s in Evie's day, but it's going to be a special day Saturday, and obviously the Hawks could use a week off and get ready for those high-flying Oregon Ducks. All right, we're here for the next 90 minutes. We want you to join us on Hawk Talk. Again, on Twitter, you can reach us at Gary Dolphin, or on Facebook at facebook.com/Voice of the Hawks. Those are the time-tested traditional ways to reach us. But the U.S. Cellular text line has been getting a workout this year, 319-853-8344. 888-267-8344. We'll step out and take our first break. When we come back, we've got a special guest. Hawkeye volleyball coach Jim Barnes is in the house. We'll hear from Coach Barnes as Hawk Talk continues with Coach Ferentz from Learfield.
Fall's the season for game plans and for powering through your to-do list with Steel. Whether you're mulching leaves or trimming back before winter, Steel tools help you finish strong. Trusted by pros, built for you. Steel, proud supporter of the Iowa Hawkeyes.
At Mid-American Energy, our 1.6 million customers depend on our energy 24/7. That's why we work 24/7 to deliver the safe, reliable energy you need. To keep our 99.9% reliability record, we're enhancing our technology, improving resiliency, and investing in critical infrastructure. We're generating power from all available resources to cover any increases in demand. And we're innovating to ensure you always have the energy you need. Mid-American Energy, obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
Get ready, Hawkeye fans. New head coach Ben McCullum and the Iowa men's basketball team are ready to hit the hardwood.
He's working hard into the corner. Koch hits a three. Oh, talk about catch and shoot.
Carver Hawkeye Arena is heating up. Witness the electrifying plays in person and be a part of the roaring Carver crowd. Take in all the action happening at Carver Hawkeye Arena by visiting HawkeyeSports.com on Iowa, and go Hawks.
How do you become America's best-selling brand? Let's break it down. Innovative tech means smarter and safer driving. Intelligent all-wheel drive will keep you ready for anything. And built Ford tough trucks will always get the job done. Plus, come into your local Ford store today and get super low APR financing, big cash back, and great lease offers on Ford's full line of cars, trucks, and SUVs. That's Ford, and that's how you become America's best-selling brand. Sales claim based on calendar year sales.
We love it when the Hawkeyes do their thing, because if there's anyone who can appreciate building a legacy, it's John Deere. We've been growing our team since 1837, recruiting the best thinkers, doers, and makers to craft innovations that outpace the competition. Because whether it's cultivating the earth with a tractor or reshaping it with a 40-ton excavator, the machines we build are building America. Nothing runs like a Deere.
Hey Hawkeyes, this is Coach Ferentz. We're excited about the football season. Iowa Corn is pumped up for their season and their partnership with the Hawkeyes. When you drive to the game, support Iowa's corn farmers by selecting unleaded 88 at the pump. It's a fuel choice that's cheaper, homegrown, and better for the planet. It's worth the hype. Get pumped up with unleaded 88. Let's go Hawks.
We're back on Hawk Talk live from View Rooftop in downtown Iowa City. We sit atop the beautiful Hilton Garden Inn right off Clinton Street. Come on out, join us, if not tonight, next week. I stand corrected. Oregon has played in Iowa City. Of course, the stadium didn't look then anything like it does now. They were here in 1949. The Ducks pulled out a 34-31 victory over the Hawkeyes. And in 1989, Iowa thumped Oregon 44-6 at Kinnick, one of Coach Hayden Fry's outstanding teams. And then a 40-18 win in Eugene. That was in 1994. I do remember that game, 40-18. Oregon had another good club in 1994, but that was out in Eugene. So the Ducks have been here twice and won one and lost one. So hopefully the Hawks can get over 500 coming up here in a couple weeks. But that's then. This is now. We're talking Minnesota Golden Gopher football tonight. And right now, let's welcome in Iowa head volleyball coach Jim Barnes. Jim, great to see you, Coach. Thanks for coming by.
Great to see you, Gary. Did you call that game in 49?
I did not call that game in 49. Jim Zombel did, though. I think he was a rookie that year. Some days I feel like I was calling games in 1949, but that was, I'm trying to remember who the coach would have been. We'll have to look that up. Was that Raffensperger? No, I don't think so. I don't want to get in a hole here. I want to talk some Hawkeye volleyball, Jim, but I get the dig. Thank you. Oh, did you catch it? Dig volleyball? Okay.
Hey, you're good. You're good.
The Hawkeyes host Michigan State and Rutgers this weekend, Friday and Sunday out at Extreme Arena. Around a 6 o'clock go to the net Friday night, and then Sunday afternoon out at Extreme Arena. And I noticed you drew 2,300 people for UCLA and USC last weekend inside Carver Hawkeye Arena. That's a tremendous turnout for both matches. Congratulations. Good for you and the Hawks.
Yeah, the Hawk fans were great. We had USC up to the wire and was one play away from getting them, and the Hawk fans were great. And the girls really enjoyed getting to play in Carver.
And UCLA is one of the country's best programs. And did that go 5 sets?
No.
Okay.
It did not.
Well,
No.
I guess every time I turn around, I'm reading about how you've gone you've played 7 5-set matches this year. Now you're 1-6, but I think it speaks volumes for where the program has come. You're right there against some of the best teams in the country.
Well, the last 3 weeks we've gone 5 with all 3 teams that were ranked way ahead of us, and we're one play away. And if we win those 3 games, we're ranked right now. So it's just a razor edge. And when you look at our squad, we play 9 players are pretty much getting in the game. 7 of them it's the first time they've ever played together. And so we're learning, weekly and getting better weekly. The opponents keep getting better weekly as well.
Well, you knew that when you came here because the behemoth that is the Big Ten for volleyball. I don't care if it's Penn State, Wisconsin, national championships after national championships, but you thrive on that kind of competition. I know you're 10-10 overall on the year, 1-7 in the conference, but you look through the numbers. What has pleased you this well? The kids obviously are fighting hard.
Yeah, just the character of this team. There's so many new players. They love being Hawks. They love competing, and believe me, the losses hurt them greatly, and this is, for many of them, the first time wearing the uniform. And they work extremely hard. Really talented group. We're one play away in a lot of these matches, and sometimes that experience helps you overcome those moments. And right now we try so hard in those moments where we haven't broke through, but they have never stopped fighting, and that's what we hear, from people who watch us play and the opposing coaches. We push them to the limit, and I do think this week is the week this team breaks through. We went 5 with Michigan State, who we play on Friday at their place, and
they're 15-3.
Yeah, they've been having one of the best years ever, and we had them at their place right where we wanted them, and so now we get them home and see if we can finish it off.
Yeah, what is it in volleyball when you get to that third game, and you want to extend the match? I know it's a physical drain, but mentally it's got to be tough on you too.
Yeah, the 5-setters they're grueling, and you get to that 5th set, and it's so fast because you only go to 15 in that one.
That's
and
right.
Sometimes it's a flip of a coin, and it can just be one play that changes the whole game. And so we've fallen short in those 5-setters, but against many of them, it was a little surprising we were in the 5th set, just because these teams have been ranked quite a bit ahead of us, and it shows how far we've come so quickly with these new players. And there's a lot of season left. There's 12 matches left in the Big Ten, and we've kind of mapped what those 12 matches look like. And there's still opportunity to win in this league, and there's still even postseason opportunity if this team can turn it on. We've been that close, and that's our mindset. We're ready to go on that run.
I can tell. I've heard John on the Hawkeye Radio Network broadcasting. I can sense the intensity on the court, and of course volleyball is king when it comes to intensity. I jotted down a couple names. Coach Barnes of Hawkeye Volleyball I want to bring up. Your senior setter, Claire Amaral, she surpassed 3,000 career assists in Iowa's match against USC last weekend, and she's 5th in the Big Ten in assists. She's approaching the pinnacle of a number of records at Iowa, at least in the top 10. And talk about her demeanor, her character, what she means to the program.
Well, she's probably the most talented player I've ever coached.
Really?
Yeah, in 36 years of doing this, she is, as a setter, to be that athletic and versatile. And every coach, when I talk to them before the game, their whole game plan's been looking at her setter and trying to figure her out, because she's also very offensive. She can hit on 2. She's a left-hander, and so she changes a lot of game plans, and we just played USC, and the coach tells me, he uses that California language. He's like, man, your setter is the most gnarly setter we've played. Gnarly out of California, but she's special, and and she's been just a step away from helping us get over the hump, but she's a special player.
Let's talk about graduate Sharday Van Sant. She's been spectacular all year. She notched her 1,000th career kill against Maryland in September, and I mean, the killers are so vital at the net for Iowa or any other program, volleyball, aren't they? And when you find one like Sharday, special.
It is. It's one of those coaches' dreams. You just love having a player like this. She comes in, and I change her position. She's never played left side in her life. And I go, by the way, we're going to play in the Big Ten in a new position. And she has just lit it up. She's, a fan favorite, super athletic, and comes to work, really hard every day. And she's one of those ones that just loves being a Hawk and having this opportunity. And she's taken, a lot of people by surprise how good she's gotten that quick at a new position.
Best league in America. I can understand why they'd be fired up. Your libero, Milana Moisio is the Big Ten leader in digs. She's got 275 digs. My goodness.
Yeah, and she's another new player too, just like Sharday, first time playing in a Hawk uniform, and she's come on, and she's probably been the most surprising. We brought in 3 different liberos to come in there and compete, and she took over it right away, and then now she's leading the Big Ten in digs, and she does so much for her team. And these are, only get her a year, which is the downside of that, but the team's also playing really hard because of that. Our seniors playing hard for them. We've got Claire's our senior. Mo is who we call, our libero. That first name's a little tough for me. But then Sharday, also a senior. Just really talented, and they've making their mark in the Big Ten. And I know they're ready to break through, especially this weekend, and get those W's.
So the transfer portal's been good to Iowa. What about the younger players on the roster? Who can we look to for the future of Iowa volleyball?
Well, Carmel is our right side. She's from Estonia. She's a freshman, and she's leading our team and kills with Sharday. And she's physically, a player you walk in and go, okay, that's a Big Ten player. She's 6'3" and hits the ball extremely hard, and you can't set her enough. She's just someone who really wants the ball. And so as a freshman, she's put up some really nice numbers. And she's another player people have to game plan around because she can hammer the ball. So that's a great freshman for us who's come in and made a mark.
Volleyball has got to be so much like basketball. You better be 6'3" to 6'6", or you can't play at this level. Is that an accurate statement?
Well, that certainly helps. Sharday's only 5'11", but the kid can touch 10'7". So
her arms are long, I'll bet.
She just flies. She's just off the floor faster than the taller, slower player.
That makes up for a height deficiency. If you got a vertical, you can get up at the net, right?
That helps, and our sport's so skilled. And so it's such a skilled sport, and you can overcome some physical things if you're really skilled, and that's part of why I loved it growing up. A shorter person on the court could figure out ways to win just through skill. And but yeah, you want the skilled, tall players who can jump high. You want all 3. So.
You're getting there, Jim. That's great to see. So Michigan State on Friday night. Did I have that right? 6 o'clock, 6:30?
Yes.
Right in that neighborhood. Get there early and
6 o'clock.
Get the Hawks all lathered up and ready to go. And then Rutgers on Sunday afternoon.
Sunday they moved it to noon.
They moved it up to noon.
It's on the Big Ten Network, and they asked us to move it to noon.
Great.
So we did, and so that'll be at 12 o'clock.
Well, Coach, like you said, you got 10, 12 matches left. Go get them. Plenty of volleyball left.
We will. We'll definitely do that.
Great to see you, Coach.
Yeah, thank you, Gary.
Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah.
Coach Jim Barnes, Hawkeye Volleyball, our guest here on Hawk Talk with Coach Ferentz. We're brought to you by Hawkeyes. Every great season starts with a strong foundation, and for farmers, that foundation is a healthy soil. At Hawkeyes, we're restoring life to the soil with over 800 species of microbes, helping grow stronger crops, more profitable farms, and healthier communities. Hawkeyes, the future of farming starts here. Learn more at hawkeyes.com. Hawk fans, entertain your friends, clients, or employees every home game in Hawkeye Village, presented by Navigate Wellbeing Solutions. They'll be out in full force on Saturday prior to the Minnesota kick, which, by the way, is around a little after 2:30 over at Kinnick. Hawkeye Village packages include game tickets, catered food and beverages. All you need to do is visit HawkeyeSports.com for more details. Navigate Wellbeing Solutions is an employee engagement company helping organizations create more health and happiness in the communities they serve. Learn more at NavigateWell.com. That's NavigateWell.com. We're coming right back now with more Hawk Talk, Iowa, Minnesota football chatter. That's next here from View Rooftop. Coach Ferentz and Learfield.
Hello, Hawkeye fans. This is Bruce Gerleman, and I own Jethro's Barbecue. Have you heard the news? It's really big news. Jethro's Barbecue is now open in Coralville. That's right, across from the Hawkeye softball diamonds on the Coralville Strip. Jethro's is your game day headquarters. Call ahead and order your tailgate barbecue from Jethro's. Before the game, during the game, after the game, stop in Jethro's and eat my amazing slow-smoked wings and my world-famous baby back ribs.
Iowa fans, with US Mode from U.S. Cellular, you can keep your eye on the game, not on your screen. Whether you're inside the stadium, tailgating in the lots, or listening to the game at home, U.S. Cellular wants you to focus on genuine connections with your family, friends, and fellow Hawkeye fans. That means at game time, you should do less growling and more cheering. So eliminate distractions and build connections by setting your phone to US Mode, because game day is for cheering on the Hawkeyes. Go Hawks! U.S. Cellular, built for us.
Cancer doesn't care. It doesn't care what you look like, how old you are, what you do, or where you live. We do. University of Iowa Healthcare is doing more to beat cancer than anyone in the state. From second opinions to life-saving treatments that happen here first. We lead the way in research, training, and care because we believe that UI Healthcare is here to make all of Iowa better. UI Healthcare, changing medicine, changing lives. Visit uihealthcare.org.
The silly moments, the proud moments, even the hard moments. They're what make life remarkable. And they're why Wellmark Blue Cross and Blue Shield is here for every moment. Committed to making healthcare better, more affordable, with more choices for care. And service and coverage that give you peace of mind no matter what comes your way. So you can show up for every tender moment, every brave moment, and every wouldn't miss it for the world moment. Knowing that Blue is here for you. Go to Wellmark.com/every moment to find a plan right for you.
You asked for all the extreme internet performance at an all-in price, and we listened. Get 1 gig internet with a 2-year price lock and everything included. Unlimited data for non-stop streaming, powerful Wi-Fi for enhanced coverage, built-in online threat protection, and internet equipment. All for just $65 a month for 2 years. It's the extreme 1 gig internet deal you asked for. Call 844-4FASTER or visit extreme.com for details. Offer available to new customers only. Price doesn't include one-time charges, tax, and government fees.
Entertain your clients or employees each home game in Hawkeye Village. Presented by Navigate Wellbeing Solutions. Packages include game tickets and catered food and beverage. Visit HawkeyeSports.com for more details. As a proud partner of Hawkeye football, Navigate Wellbeing Solutions is an employee engagement company helping organizations create more health and happiness in the communities they serve. Learn more at NavigateWell.com.
Hawkeye football coming up Saturday over at Kinnick Stadium. We hope you can join us in Kinnick. It's blackout Saturday. Wear your best black outfit, your jet black outfit. Everybody will be back in black. When that swarm comes out of the tunnel, it'll be an electrifying scene, as it always is. Our military hero last week, Wade Elgin, Sergeant Wade Elgin. Hi to Wade and his family. He was United States Marine Corps. 2003, served as an infantry machine gunner with Gulf Company 2nd Battalion and did several tours during Operation Iraqi Freedom, as well as the 31st and 15th Marine Expeditionary Units. Earned a couple of Purple Hearts, Navy and Marine Corps Commendation Medals with Valor Device, Combat Action Ribbon, and Humanitarian Service Medal. Not bad for the Indianola, Iowa native. Congratulations to our military hero of the game, Sergeant Wade Elgin. Special time of the year with Veterans Day coming up in early November. And we honored Wade Elgin last weekend. We'll have another military hero to talk about this coming weekend. All right, Iowa, Minnesota. Well, that has a special ring to it. It always does, as we'll get Coach Ferentz comments when he gets here about what this Minnesota Golden Gopher series has meant to him personally, and as what it has meant to the Iowa program. Hawkeye football is sponsored by Steel. Get your yard ready for the fall, folks, with the proven power of Steel. From cleanups to cutbacks, Steel has the tools to help you win every weekend. Steel, proud supporter of the Iowa Hawkeyes. I want to thank KCRG, Channel 9.2, the crew here tonight, Aaron Rooney, their producer, Deke and Mike, who do a great job of setting us up each and every week with the cameras, the lights, the show itself, and we appreciate KCRG 9.2 each and every Wednesday on Hawk Talk. They'll be here, by the way, next week as well for our bye-week program. And again, can't emphasize enough, we will have a bye-week show. Next Wednesday, Kirk will be here for a brief appearance, and we'll throw some questions and comments from you, the listeners, at Coach Ferentz next week. He'll be here in just a few minutes for tonight's program. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. As we're at the top of the hour, station ID time here on the Hawkeye Radio Network. You're listening to Hawk Talk with Coach Ferentz from View Rooftop. And we're back at View Rooftop. Xavier Wampa is the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Week. Congratulations to X-Man. Man, is he playing some great football. And he sat down with our Matt Randazzo. Matt does our first hour of the pregame show. Congratulations to Xavier on his conference award win, and he visited with our Matt Randazzo earlier today.
Talk about some of your big plays, and the one I want to pick out is when your team needed it the most, that interception. That's the second straight week you guys have picked one off and got back to the one. Talk about that play, what you saw, and boy, I bet you wish you had that extra yard, don't you?
I do a little bit, yeah. I wish we could find the end zone. It'll come sooner than later, but yeah. I try to give him, the quarterback, a little deception. Looked like we were playing some cover 2. TJ just made a good play, tipped the ball in the air. I just happened to be right place, right time, and then started running up the sideline. Kind of blacked out a little bit, but tried to find the end zone. Came up a little short, but happy we punched it in and came out with the W.
What does it say about your team that you were down 21-10 at one point and down again with 5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, and you guys found a way to win? Maybe they're not the cleanest game, mistakes that can be corrected throughout, but what does it say about your guys and your team that you guys persevered and found a way to win?
Yeah, we've been able to, we've gone through adversity this year a couple of times, and it's just how you respond in those moments. And I feel like we responded pretty well. Ultimately, we gave us a chance to come back and win that game and came out with the W. So it's just a gritty team, though. We'll just get down and dirty with anybody. So try and take it the distance. It's a full 60-minute game, so we'll take it the full 60 every time.
Big plays, and this defense has been playing really good. This is following up a shutout up at Wisconsin and Madison. What is it about this team that continues to get better defensively throughout the season?
We're just building experience back there. There's some guys that haven't played significant snaps before this year, and they're just coming into fruition. They're being in the right places. They're seeing things faster. So, the whole defense will fly around faster and make some more plays, and that's just going to create more turnovers, a little more chaos. So that's just what we like back there, being able to fly around.
Saturday, the atmosphere was electric. I'm sure you're expecting nothing less than that coming up on Saturday against the Gophers.
Oh yeah, the Hawkeye fans make a crazy atmosphere. It's a 2:30 kick, blackout, so it'll be dark in the second half. So we like, hopefully get the fans into it early and often and just keep the atmosphere pumping like normal.
The X-Man, I love that. He said it'll be dark in the second half. The Hawks are undefeated in night games, 5-0. 5 of their 7 games have been played in the darkness. Obviously, Musco has engulfed Kinnick Stadium, the floor of it, with beautiful lighting, of course. But so X-Man likes that, the fact that with a 2:30, 2:40 kick somewhere in there, by the time the game ends, it'll be dark, and hopefully they can turn the lights out on the Gophers. And Xavier Wampa is no question playing the best football of his Iowa Hawkeye life. He was named Big Ten Defensive Player of the Week yesterday. Made 10 tackles, intercepted that pass, forced a fumble in the game against Penn State. He is just playing spectacular football. And You know, I've mentioned this a number of times, what Mark Gronowski has meant to the offense. Xavier Wampa, Cohen Ontringer, and Zach Lutmer have meant to the defense. Those three safeties / cashbacks have been spectacular, holding things together in the back end. Up front, you know what you got with Aaron Graves. By the way, Aaron Graves was named a finalist today, I was reading, for the National Football Foundation Scholar Athlete of the Year. The Hawks have stars all throughout that lineup. And with Herkett and Llewellyn and Graves, and then you take your pick, Bryce Hawthorne or Jonah Pace at the other defensive tackle spot, the front and the back end of that Iowa defense, especially the way Deshaun Lee and T.J. Hall have come on at the cornerback positions, rock solid. The linebackers were inexperienced only from a starting a game factor. Hadn't really started a lot of games. They've been around. Been great on special teams, especially Carson Shire, who has played the most. But between Jackson Rexroth, who's played a lot in the back end, but not a lot at linebacker until this year. Jax has played outstanding out of Cedar Rapids Xavier. And then you add in the two guys in the middle in Jaden Montgomery and Jaden Harrell. They're coming on strong. Montgomery's had a couple good weeks filling in for Harrell, who's been beat up physically. So that defense of Phil Parker maturing right on schedule. Iowa, the defense has forced 7 turnovers in the last 4 games. The Hawks rank 8th nationally in both scoring defense and total defense. The Hawks are giving up 14 points a game. If Iowa can score 21 points a game, just get over that 20-point threshold, they're in good shape. So look for the defense to be rock solid again, as it was a year ago, especially in the second half up in Minneapolis. As for the X-Man, Wampa, he'll show up loaded for bear again coming up on this Saturday. And we'll be on the air, by the way, at 12:30 with our Hawkeye pregame coverage here on the Hawkeye Radio Network. You can hear the entirety of the Xavier Wampa, Matt Randazzo interview on Inside the Huddle. That's part of the Hawkeye Tailgate Show, live from Krause Family Plaza. That'll be Saturday afternoon. I mentioned our coverage starts at 12:30. You can hear the extended interview with Matt and Xavier Wampa. Okay, we'll step out, take a break. Coach Ferentz is entering the building, and we'll get Kirk's thoughts on not only last week, but what's ahead with Minnesota. That's next on Hawk Talk from View Rooftop with Coach Ferentz.
How do you become America's best-selling brand? Let's break it down. Innovative tech means smarter and safer driving. Intelligent all-wheel drive will keep you ready for anything. And built Ford tough trucks will always get the job done. Plus, come into your local Ford store today and get super low APR financing, big cash back, and great lease offers on Ford's full line of cars, trucks, and SUVs. That's Ford, and that's how you become America's best-selling brand. Sales claim based on calendar year sales.
Hello, Iowa. Here's a promise. Wherever you are in this great state, University of Iowa Healthcare is here for you, even if you never walk through our doors. Educating, caring, leading research, sharing our expertise with all. Because we believe that UI Healthcare is here to make all of Iowa better. UI Healthcare, changing medicine, changing lives. Visit uihealthcare.org.
Can you think of anything that costs the same today as it did 10 years ago? There isn't much. That is, unless you're a Mid-American Energy customer. Thanks to all the renewable energy we're generating, our customers pay nearly the same rate for electricity today as they did back when we were all singing, "Call Me Maybe." And with Mid-American making even more investments in clean energy, you can count on enjoying those same affordable rates for the next decade. Now that's obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
From the roar of the crowd to Carver cones, can't miss plays and heart-pounding finishes. There's something for everyone at an Iowa athletics event. Don't just hear about it or see the clip on your phone. Be part of it. Change up your routine and get your friends together for an Iowa athletics event. Make it a memorable one by visiting HawkeyeSports.com. Fire up the fight song, cue the victory polka, and experience what it means to be a Hawkeye on Iowa. And go Hawks!
Hi, Hawk fans. Coach Kirk Ferentz here. For 40 years, our players have proudly worn the ANF logo to honor the hardworking farmers who keep this country growing. With fewer farmers working the land, their challenges are bigger, but their commitment never wavers. The Iowa Hawkeyes and the Iowa Farm Bureau are proud to stand with these dedicated families who feed and fuel our nation. Thanks for celebrating 40 years of America Needs Farmers. Let's keep standing strong for the people who keep us going strong. To learn more, visit americaneedsfarmers.org.
We love it when the Hawkeyes do their thing, because if there's anyone who can appreciate building a legacy, it's John Deere. We've been growing our team since 1837, recruiting the best thinkers, doers, and makers to craft innovations that outpace the competition. Because whether it's cultivating the earth with a tractor or reshaping it with a 40-ton excavator, the machines we build are building America. Nothing runs like a Deere.
And we're back at View Rooftop in downtown Iowa City in the Hilton Garden Inn. Welcome in, everybody. We've got a great crowd here tonight. Full house at the bar and, of course, in the fine dining area. And the food is the best. The beverages are ice cold. Come on out any night, but especially we'd love to see you on Wednesday night here at Hawk Talk with Coach Ferentz. Kirk, great to see you, by the way.
Likewise, fall's here.
Fall is here. The jackets get a little heavier this time of year, don't they? But want to mention that we've got the ownership in the building tonight, Bruce and Ben Kinseth, who we know very well from the Kinseth Hospitality Company, sitting over here to our left, Coach. They own the View and the Hilton Garden Inn, among other hotel and restaurant properties across the Midwest. Great to have the Kinseth and their associates here with you. Thanks to both of you for your partnership with Hawkeye Athletics and hosting us each week here, Hawk Talk with Coach Ferentz. Of course, Bruce and I have had a number of talks about Dan Gable. He was a national championship wrestler at Iowa. So the Kinseth family we know very well.
What a great family, and what a great hotel this place is. They've been kind enough to let us use it during recruiting. So we typically have a real big weekend in June and host recruits, their families here. It just worked out fantastic. And then this is where it all kind of kicks off right here in this dining room. So spectacular view, great property, and we certainly appreciate their interest, and obviously big fans of the wrestling program. I've had 2 weeks in a row now with Chapel being wrestling dominated, actually. So it's been great, and we've enjoyed every bit of it.
Well, Iowa, back in the day, not so much today, but back in the day when Iowa wrestlers played football as well, Bruce was one of those. That was a great era in the Hayden Fry, Gable, Hayden Fry. And, of course, if Dan Gable asked you to do something, rarely would you turn him down. I
don't know why he would. Yeah, that'd be a mistake for sure. And, Dan's just one of the amazing coaches of all sports, in my opinion. And he was kind enough. He did a clinic for us back our second year here, first or second year. I can't remember exactly. It might have been the first year anyway. But he got off a plane. He was out in Colorado at the training center there. Got off a plane Friday midday and got over to the. We did it in the student union that year, and he did a great job, unbelievable job. And then stood there for probably an hour doing autographs with a line of coaches and what have you. But I introduced him that day, and I didn't realize the extent of his record as a coach. I knew about his record as a competitor, but you go through his, and it's like, Bear Bryant and, all those guys, John Wooden, are just like pikers compared to what he accomplished. It's just absolutely phenomenal. As good a wrestler as he was, you could argue he's a better coach. And then, you talk to his athletes that had a chance to compete for him, and just, it's all the same from everybody, just top shelf. And I know it was all about his athletes and trying to move them forward, not only on the mat and competitively, but in their lives as well.
For sure. It's great to have Bruce and Ben and associates and family members here tonight. Okay, you had 70 recruits at the Penn State game. I'm sure some of those guys wrestled, but they had to be impressed not only with the performance by the Hawkeyes, but just the overall atmosphere on Black and Gold Spirit Day. Everybody got the memo, as you like to say. They were sitting perfectly in the seats throughout the stadium.
Yeah, it turned out really well, obviously, and we go through on Thursdays who's going to be at the game in terms of recruits. And I asked, I said, is this the biggest group we've ever had? Sure seemed like. I guess we've had one other weekend a little bit bigger. handful of people. But to that point, yeah, great group of guys on campus. A couple prospects are on official visits, and the team really played well. I mean, played extremely hard, start to finish, and then the environment. Night games are just have always been special in Kinnick, and then Saturday night it's as good as it gets in college football for my money. So it just it was a great night overall, and we've had to get our feet back on the ground, get to work. But it was a great weekend for everybody.
24-hour rule, right?
Yeah, we let them have the entire 24 hours. So Monday morning, our sights turned to our opponent. But enjoyed it Sunday. Still look at the film, and a lot of things to take away. And I think it's one of the good things about our team right now. There's so many things we can continue to get better at, and if we keep our focus on that, we'll give ourselves a chance to be successful. So that's hopefully where everybody's concentrating right now and really trying to see what they can do about moving forward that way.
Good deal. Coach, I was, before your arrival, talking about Iowa and going north of 200 yards again, rushing. That's 5 out of 7 games where you've run the ball for 4 out of 7 games where you've rushed the ball for better than 200 yards. And, there's a few ways to get to the end zone, whether it's running or throwing, doesn't matter as long as you get there. And but I've heard a lot of chatter about the passing game this week. In fact, Mark Gronowski, we got a comment from Mark that we'll hear a little bit later on about the passing game, or the perceived lack of a passing game. You got Reese Vandersea back. You don't have Addison Estrenga coming back. It's been kind of a mix and match game with the receiving core, but there's a lot of way to score, and as long as you win, that's the bottom line, right?
Yeah, a lot of things have changed in football, college football especially in the last 20 years, last 5 years for that matter. But over the last 20 years, or probably 250 years actually, the couple things haven't changed, and if you can run the ball, that really gives you an opportunity to be successful consistently. You've got to play good defense, and you've got to protect the football and not just not do stupid things out on the field. If you can avoid those things, it gives you a real chance to win. And our goal has always been to be balanced offensively. So I'm happy with the fact that we can run the ball last year, and this year it's getting back to where we want to be in that regard. And maybe I'm a little bit delusional, but I thought we were gaining ground going into the Indiana game, including the Indiana game, throwing the football. And things went a little bit south when Mark got hurt. Certainly that didn't help the equation. And then I would assume most people realize, like, Mark really didn't do much during the bye week other than spend time in the training room. So I just attribute it to him not being able to practice. He's still not at full speed, and probably would have scored if he were full speed, which meant there would have been more time on the clock the other day. But, I mean, I think we're going to be fine there. I'm not overly concerned. That's down the list. I'm obviously curious to see how we progress in the passing game. I think everybody is, but I think it's a little bit early to sound any alarms.
I mentioned this during the broadcast Saturday night. In the postgame, Pat and I were talking about the game plan, the play calling with Tim Lester. I thought it might have been his best game top to bottom in play calling, at least what he wanted to do. There were some audibles, there were some checkdowns and some different plays, but the way he was trying to balance things out, I thought it was spectacular.
I thought he did a great job calling the game, and all the coaches did a great job getting the team ready and getting them prepared, and then the adjustments they made during the course of the game. And most opponents will throw something different at you during the course of the game, so there's always really good discussion going on during the game, and especially at halftime, trying to get our sights on what we'd like to do. The other part of the equation, too, if you go back to the Penn State game, especially, I mean, they've got some pretty high-caliber athletes on that team, offensively and defensively, and I think they have a little something to do with that as well. So they're a tough team. They're really a tough team, and to me, going into the game, I mean, that was obvious to anybody that knows anything about football. If you just look at their team, just unbelievable athletic ability and talent. The big variable was how are they going to handle the news that they had to deal with last week, and give Terry Smith, the head coach, interim head coach, just a lot of credit. Very impressed with visiting with him before the game. Just got off the phone a little bit while ago with somebody who used to coach here that knew him from recruiting. He was a very successful high school coach there, and I thought he did a wonderful job of keeping that team focused. Those guys are ready to go on Saturday, and you're hoping they wouldn't be, but that wasn't the case. And so we beat a very talented football team, and it took every bit of what we've got to get there. And we'll keep focusing on improvement in all areas. Hopefully, the passing game's part of that.
First blush at first glance at Minnesota, they got a big win over Nebraska. You hold that offense to 6 points, 2 field goals, and you've really done a great job. What about P.J. Fleck and the Gophers this year?
I think they've just, I don't want to say quietly, but they've just continued to ascend. They didn't come out, house of fire necessarily the first game or two, but and they had a tough loss out on the road at Cal, and that's a tough chore for a Midwest team to go out there and play a night game out there in that time zone. But if you look at it, they're playing Big Ten. Rutgers got off to a good start against them, and then they opened the door a little bit. And Minnesota came right back and took command of the game and took lead and won a 3-point game. Played against Ohio State, and that's a tough assignment for anybody basically. And they played really well the last 2 weeks. Got a bunch of turnovers against Purdue, and then to your point the other night. The story of the game was 9 sacks on the quarterback for Nebraska, so that's it's tough to win a game doing that. And if we do that, we have no chance to win the game. But I think the commonality is over the years, at least last 5, 6, 7 years, whatever it is, they're very well coached. They have an identity, and they've had some coordinator changes offensively, defensively, not so much special teams, but they've had some special teams even two years ago. But they basically look the same. Like they have a system and identity. They play it well. They don't beat themselves typically. And you can count on them showing up and playing hard. That's just, how they've been successful. And Coach Fleck's done a great job up there. So it's going to be a big challenge. And look at our series last year. We ended up, having a sizable lead there right there at the end. But we were 14-7 deficit at halftime. And then, the 3 games preceding, 10 points between, all 3 games combined. So I think that's what you can expect this week is another really tight, hotly contested game.
On that note, you mentioned the 9 sacks on Dominic Raiola, or at least the quarterbacks at Nebraska. Eli is here in the building, in the room tonight. Eli came up and left me a question. He said, Coach, congratulations on the big win over Penn State. Minnesota sacked the quarterback 9 times last week. How does Iowa prevent that? Well, I reminded Eli we've got one of the highest rated offensive lines in the Big Ten, and I'm not sure. I haven't studied Nebraska close enough to see how good their offensive line is. They're usually big and strong. So 9 sacks, the Gophers had to be coming from all different directions.
That's a good argument, again, for run the ball a little bit just to, slow the pass rush down. But, yeah, to that point, I mean, they did a really nice job. They were very aggressive. They pressure probably more now than they have in the past. A little bit of a change there. They do have a new defensive coordinator and a little bit more man coverage than we've seen over the years, and a little more aggressive with the pressure package, safeties and linebackers. But the bottom line is, that there was a mixture of things that happened. Sometimes quarterback, just couldn't get rid of the ball. There's coverage, good coverage. Other times maybe a breakdown up front, or everybody wasn't on the same page in terms of blitz pickups, those types of things, and all those little things are going to get you in trouble. And then it's never any fun. But sometimes you get in games where it just snowballs. And it's not only not fun, it's miserable if you're an offensive coach in that situation, been there. But sometimes that momentum just takes place. So, we're going to have to be at our best, and we know that anyway. I mean, they're a good football team, and they're plenty to prepare for.
The battle for Floyd of Rosedale starts at 2:30 Saturday afternoon. Our air coverage on the Hawkeye Radio Network begins at 12:30. We'll step out and take a break, let Coach catch his breath here. Then we'll come back. We'll go to Twitter as well as Facebook, and we'll look further into that Minnesota Golden Gopher scouting report. That's coming up next year on Hawk Talk from View Rooftop at the Hilton Garden Inn, downtown Iowa City. Throughout the Iowa Corn Cy-Hawk Series, Iowa Corn promotes honest, hardworking values that are uniquely Iowan. On behalf of Iowa's corn farmers, we salute all athletes for their hard work and determination to be the best both on and off the field. Just like our top athletes, our state leads the nation in corn and ethanol production. Go to iowacorn.org, iowacorn.org, and learn how corn grows Iowa. This is Hawk Talk with Coach Ferentz from Learfield.
Iowa fans, with US Mode from US Cellular, you can keep your eye on the game, not on your screen. Whether you're inside the stadium, tailgating in the lots, or listening to the game at home, US Cellular wants you to focus on genuine connections with your family, friends, and fellow Hawkeye fans. That means at game time, you should do less growing and more cheering. So eliminate distractions and build connections by setting your phone to US Mode, because game day is for cheering on the Hawkeyes. Go Hawks! US Cellular, built for us. As a program, we're always working to compete at the highest level on the field. The Flight Fund is a great opportunity for our fans to contribute directly to our football program, which will benefit our student athletes and all involved with Hawkeye football. Contributions to the Flight Fund will enable us to continue to attract and retain the highest quality prospective players to keep our program in a position to compete at a championship level.
Cancer doesn't care. It doesn't care what you look like, how old you are, what you do, or where you live. We do. University of Iowa Healthcare is doing more to beat cancer than anyone in the state. From second opinions to life-saving treatments that happen here first. We lead the way in research, training, and care because we believe that UI Healthcare is here to make all of Iowa better. UI Healthcare, changing medicine, changing lives. Visit uihealthcare.org.
How do you become America's best-selling brand? Let's break it down. Innovative tech means smarter and safer driving. Intelligent all-wheel drive will keep you ready for anything. And built Ford tough trucks will always get the job done. Plus, come into your local Ford store today and get super low APR financing, big cash back, and great lease offers on Ford's full line of cars, trucks, and SUVs. That's Ford, and that's how you become America's best-selling brand. Sales claim based on calendar year sales.
We love it when the Hawkeyes do their thing, because if there's anyone who can appreciate building a legacy, it's John Deere. We've been growing our team since 1837, recruiting the best thinkers, doers, and makers to craft innovations that outpace the competition. Because whether it's cultivating the earth with a tractor or reshaping it with a 40-ton excavator, the machines we build are building America. Nothing runs like a Deere.
Hi, Hawk fans. Coach Kirk Ferentz here. For 40 years, our players have proudly worn the ANF logo to honor the hardworking farmers who keep this country growing. With fewer farmers working the land, their challenges are bigger, but their commitment never wavers. The Iowa Hawkeyes and the Iowa Farm Bureau are proud to stand with these dedicated families who feed and fuel our nation. Thanks for celebrating 40 years of America Needs Farmers. Let's keep standing strong for the people who keep us going strong. To learn more, visit americaneedsfarmers.org.
Welcome back to Hawk Talk with Iowa football coach Kirk Ferentz. I'm Gary Dolphin. Iowa, Minnesota, 2:30 on Saturday afternoon. It's, again, remember, it's blackout Saturday. What an atmosphere it's going to be. It always is a great atmosphere with the Minnesota Golden Gophers. And Minnesota's defense, to Kirk's point a moment ago, have been outstanding. They've got a really good, tough front, outstanding middle linebacker. They get after the quarterback, no question about it. We're live at View Rooftop. We're here each and every Wednesday. We will have a show next week. You can experience the high-energy rooftop bar here at View Rooftop with spectacular views of downtown Iowa City. And those warmer temperatures haven't vacated the premises forever. 60, 65 degrees, it's a great time to sit outside on the deck here at View Rooftop, which features a distinctly modern escape filled with a unique outdoor design. View Rooftop is located on the 12th floor where we are at the Hilton Garden Inn. With specials on Hawkeye football game days like this Saturday, View Rooftop provides a memorable experience of food, music, and fantastic views of the Iowa City skyline. Call 319-519-4650. 319-519-4650 to set up your View Rooftop reservation. Here tonight, Coach, we've got Lonnie. Where's Lonnie? From Charlotte, North Carolina, who's here taking in Hawk Talk with Coach Ferentz. Lonnie comes to a couple games a year, loves the Hawks. He loves the Kinnick Stadium atmosphere. That's what got him hooked, Coach. Who can blame him?
Yeah, easy to do. I still remember my first game here in 1981, and just totally amazed by the environment and the atmosphere, and that was as you well know, after 19 straight losing seasons. Made you wonder, like, what would it be like if we went around here, win a few games, and we soon learned thereafter. So, it's a great environment. It was that way in the 80s, and certainly even better now at the north end zone. And then when you get a chance to play at night, that makes it even more electric in there. So it's a great college football stadium and a great college football home for a team.
Always extra special when Minnesota comes to town. Of course, in the battle for the pig, Floyd of Rosedale, they've been playing for Floyd since 1935. 119 years for this series. I mean, you've experienced in the Metrodome, in the new stadium, a beautiful stadium they have on campus now, and obviously a lot at Kinnick Stadium. And it's a series, it's a rivalry that is just kind of a step above most.
It really is, and I learned that in 1981. Speaking of 1981, that was the first time we had upset three teams, three top 10 teams, and all of a sudden found ourselves flying at an altitude we weren't quite prepared for, and we went out and were really tight. And I think we ended up losing 12-10. Nothing funny about that, but it was a tough day, certainly, and that was my first experience in this rivalry, and it's been the same way every year. Just really hard fought, a little bit emotional, and but typically two good teams going back and forth on the whole thing. So, yeah, it should be a great game on Saturday.
Coach, let's talk personnel. P.J. Fleck has found himself a nice quarterback in Drake Lindsey. He's a redshirt freshman, but boy, he's playing beyond his years.
Yeah, I alluded to their improvement earlier in the conversation, and really you're talking about him as much as anybody. They've got a lot of veteran guys at other positions, that type of deal. But biggest question mark typically for any team is anytime you have a new quarterback, how's that going to work out? And really, you think about this day and age, there aren't a lot of high school guys that end up elevating. So many transfers involved in the quarterback position, but in this case, that's not the case. He's recruited out of Arkansas, and you can just see him getting better and better each and every week, and he can really throw the football out there. But and he could throw it 5 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago, but he's more poised now. He's got experience and just putting himself in better positions.
10 touchdowns to 3 interceptions. Two things. That tells me he's accurate, but it also tells me he's got a pretty good offensive line protecting him.
Yeah, it's really impressive for a first-year player to have those kind of stats. And, the line does a good job. Typical of them. They've got great size up there. Some veteran guys, and then their left tackle's a young guy, second-year player. So, they're playing well as a group, and it'll be a big challenge.
They always have outstanding tailbacks, Kirk. You know that. We've seen not only – in typical years, they'll have 1 or 2 or 3 guys that can carry the mail. But Darius Taylor, the junior from Detroit, we've seen him now. He's been around a while. He's solid in the line of built powerfully. They run a lot of that zone stretch as well. But this guy can get to the outside, too.
Yeah, it's hard to believe he's only been there 3 years. And it seems like that always is kind of the case. He's played a lot of good football in a couple of years' time, and this is year 3 for him. So he's really a good player. He's been hurt a little bit on and off over the last couple of years, but looks really good this year. Then the young man who I think he missed a game or two, but the young guy stepped in for him, did a really nice job as well. So they always seem to have at least 2 really good running backs that can hurt you if you aren't on top of things, and that's certainly the case again this year.
Lamike Brockington is their number 1 receiving option. He's over 20 receptions for the year, and at one of the wideout positions, the infamous number 0. But what has impressed me a lot about Minnesota's offense since PJ arrived there is they've really made the tight end position a focal point, not just blocking, but getting the ball to them, a lot like Iowa.
Yeah, they do. They do a good job of that, and their tight ends are good size. And they've actually, got 3 or 4 of them that are involved in the offense. But they've done a good job of that. So yeah, they're just a good football team, and it seems like year in and year out they've got good players at pretty much every position, and they're going to give you a big challenge.
We'll talk about the defense when we come back. But coach, as we go to break, our University of Iowa Stead Family Children's Hospital kid captain this week is 8-year-old Luke Johnston from Dunlap, Illinois. Luke, we'll look forward to seeing you Saturday. Luke was diagnosed with a rare spinal condition that put him at the risk of paralysis, and only a handful of surgeons in the world could perform the operation that Luke Johnston needed. Well, guess what? They found him at University of Iowa Stead Family Children's Hospital, where Luke underwent a 13-hour, hear me, 13-hour spine surgery on Halloween. His care team, dressed in costumes, kept his spirits high, and with the help of Corin, a facility dog, a pet-friendly dog, Luke made an incredible recovery. Not only did the surgery go successful, but we're looking at that smiling face on KCRG Channel 9.2. Your heart just melts.
Yeah, and it's great. You know, a year ago he was over there watching from the hospital side of things, and it's going to be so nice to have him on the field this year and enjoying this whole thing. So, tremendous young guy and great family, and yeah, it's just every one of these stories. I mean, can you imagine a 13-hour surgery? It's just unbelievable. And you know, fortunately, with some great people doing a lot of great work there.
8 years old. He just looking at it, he doesn't look like he weighs more than a good-sized pumpkin.
Yeah, that's true.
Talk about toughness. So, all right, Luke, way to go. We'll see you Saturday over at Kennick. All right, we'll come back and talk Minnesota defense with Coach, and we'll take some of your Facebook and Twitter questions. The U.S. Cellular text line is open as well. This is Hawk Talk from View Rooftop with Coach Ferentz and Learfield.
Tournament Club of Iowa, designed by golf legend Arnold Palmer. TCI is his only signature course in the state. TCI is a public course offering a challenging yet enticing experience for golfers of all levels and is managed by Kaler Golf. Cap off your round with breathtaking views and a delicious meal at the TCI Bar and Grill. Looking for a unique setting for your wedding party or outing? Look no further than the newly renovated clubhouse at TCI. Visit tcofiowa.com to book your tee time today.
Fall's the season for game plans and for powering through your to-do list with Steel. Whether you're mulching leaves or trimming back before winter, Steel tools help you finish strong. Trusted by pros, built for you. Steel, proud supporter of the Iowa Hawkeyes.
Hello, Iowa. Here's a promise. Wherever you are in this great state, University of Iowa Healthcare is here for you, even if you never walk through our doors. Educating, caring, leading research, sharing our expertise with all. Because we believe that UI Healthcare is here to make all of Iowa better. UI Healthcare, changing medicine, changing lives. Visit uihealthcare.org.
At MidAmerican Energy, our 1.6 million customers depend on our energy 24/7. That's why we work 24/7 to deliver the safe, reliable energy you need. To keep our 99.9% reliability record, we're enhancing our technology, improving resiliency, and investing in critical infrastructure. We're generating power from all available resources to cover any increases in demand. And we're innovating to ensure you always have the energy you need. MidAmerican Energy, obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
Iowa fans, with US Mode from U.S. Cellular, you can keep your eye on the game, not on your screen. Whether you're inside the stadium, tailgating in the lots, or listening to the game at home, U.S. Cellular wants you to focus on genuine connections with your family, friends, and fellow Hawkeye fans. That means at game time, you should do less growing and more cheering. So eliminate distractions and build connections by setting your phone to US Mode, because game day is for cheering on the Hawkeyes. Go Hawks! U.S. Cellular, built for us.
Hawks running to the basket and a dunk.
The season starts Tuesday, November 4th for Ben McCullum and your Iowa men's basketball team. As we count down to tip-off, we're calling on Hawk fans to rally around Coach McCullum, Bennett Sturtz, and the team as they embark on the season ahead. Secure your seats and find the full schedule at HawkeyeSports.com. We'll see you at Carver Hawkeye Arena for the men's basketball season opener, Tuesday, November 4th on Iowa, and Go Hawks.
Welcome back to View Rooftop in downtown Iowa City in the Hilton Garden Inn. Happy birthday, Matthew. Matthew's up saying hi to Coach Ferentz, former student manager in the Iowa basketball team, and that great program over at Carver Hawkeye Arena. Speaking of basketball, Coach, we're getting to that overlap stage where Iowa basketball will be intertwining with Hawkeye football here once November 1st gets here, and we'll have Ben McCullum here next week along with Beth Getz, Hawkeye Athletic Director. We will have a bye-week show next week because of basketball obligations later on in November. So we'll have a Kirk Ferentz Hawk Talk next week here at View Rooftop, and we will have Athletic Director Beth Getz will be making an appearance, as well as a new Hawkeye men's basketball coach, Ben McCullum. So plan to come on out, a special bye-week Hawk Talk next Wednesday, starting at 6:30 here at View Rooftop. Kirk, I got a chance to review that Minnesota game with Nebraska last week. Haven't seen it all yet, but the middle linebacker, or one of their inside linebackers, Maverick Baranowski, that's where you start with this defense. They have other good players. Coy Perch, outstanding free safety. He's been there a couple of years, but this Baranowski reminds me of the young man that hurt us at UCLA last year, who had a last name about that long. Those guys are always pain in the tush, pain in the backside.
First of all, with that name, he should be from Chicago, it sounds like.
He might be. Where's he from?
I think Florida, somewhere in Florida.
Oh, that can't be. Yeah, he's from Ponce Inlet, Florida.
So there you go.
That's got to be a misprint. He's the south side of Chicago, or the Chicago Catholic League.
It's got to fit in there with Nitschke and Butkus, all those guys.
Nitschke, Grabowski.
But, yeah, just a really good football player and very, very active. Both those linebackers do a good job running around 6 and 9, really active that way. And then on the outside, they play like most people, either a linebacker or a defensive back, depending on your personnel. But, yeah, those guys are an active group. The guys up front are doing a good job, a lot of them back from last year. And they're a year more mature and better. And, you know, the defense is really well conceived. You know, it's again remained pretty consistent. They've had several coordinators the last 6-7 years, but you know, they've been really consistent with their scheme. And you mentioned the safety; he's a really good player, number 3, the boundary safety. And yeah, just it's a group that does a really nice job. Play hard.
Yeah, those safeties, they've done a good job at Minnesota. They've had several number 1 draft picks, NFL first-round draft picks from that secondary. And I look and I see John Nestor, who's been starting at a quarterback position, former Hawkeye. We know he can play.
John's done a good job for him at corner. And, yeah, you referenced the 1 safety. He's down in Tampa now doing a great job. Yeah, so they've had good secondary play. And this group will, you know, they're very active.
Coach, let's go to Facebook, Twitter, the U.S. Cellular text line. Lucas is up in Sioux City on Facebook at facebook.com/Voice of the Hawks. Coach, what areas do you feel need the most improvement coming out of last week's win versus Penn State as you head into the matchup with the Gophers? Well, you're always looking to improve in every phase, every aspect.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing that's glaring. We talked about the passing game a little bit earlier and just the timing there. Got to work on that, certainly. But, yeah, it's typically just not like just one area of focus. It's more of a team thing and just, you know, continuing to get our timing down and getting a little bit better in terms of, you know, guys understanding what each other are doing and playing off them, whether it's making reads in the run game, same thing in the passing game, the quarterback anticipation, just all that stuff. There's a lot that goes into, you know, being a you know, functional offensive football team, and it's really no different on defense. And at least, you know, historically the strength, and most teams are this way, but for us especially, the strength of our defense is if all 11 guys are on the same page, and when we're not, that's when bad things tend to happen. You know, somebody comes wide open, or the ball goes shooting through there on a run, and you know, so there's a lot going on during the course of a game. But yeah, these are things you're working on during the course of the week, and it's really twofold. You're trying to improve individually. Each and every player is working on doing that. But during the week also, you're working on matching up against your opponent. So those are the 2 main things on a player's list during the course of Monday through Saturday. And, you know, it's really ongoing. So a player's attitude, his ability to pay attention to detail, and then, you know, it sure helps if a player's got a strong will and a desire to be a good player. That those guys just tend to improve a little faster than others.
We have heard from Carl on Facebook in Waterloo. What team or teams, Coach, if any, have we faced this year or historically that might compare a similar style of play to Minnesota? Any come to mind?
Well, I mean, schematically, defensively, it's easy to, you know, you say Michigan State or Rutgers. It's a little bit of a family tree, and we you know, we're similar in a lot of ways to what they do schematically. So, from that standpoint, I'm just talking strictly about schemes and how they choose to line up and how they choose to pressure you, those types of things. There's probably some parallels that way. Again, but I'll mentioned earlier, and I'll re-mention it, that they're playing more man coverage this year than they have in the past. So that's a little bit of a departure, and that would throw them out of the family tree I just referenced in that way. But, yeah, it reminded me that way. And then offensively, probably, again, some parallels between them and Rutgers. Obviously, the differences in the personnel that you have, those types of things. But, there's a lot of commonality typically over the course of a year. So it's a good question. But, yeah, Rutgers would be the first team I would mention in terms of the offense.
Let's go to Twitter from Facebook, at Gary Dolphin. On Twitter, at Gary Dolphin. Mark, it doesn't say where Mark's from, but he's obviously a recruiting junkie. Coach, can you talk about the development of defensive lineman Devin Kennedy and Brad Fitzgibbon, and offensive lineman Cannon Leonard?
So, yeah, I'll start by saying you have two categories there. You've got Devin and Cannon are both second year on campus. And then Brad's a true freshman. So, but they're all similar in that they're either in the too deep or, trying to crack into it. But they're guys that, probably aren't going to play much this year in critical situations, although you never know. It's just I talk to our players about that all the time. There's always somebody in the room that, doesn't think they're going to be in there, and guess what? 3 weeks later, you're in there playing a lot. We've had a million of those stories. But as a rule, they're in a developmental stage right now. Devin in year two has really, I think, made great strides. He's a little bit undersized. He started playing high school football late, which is interesting because his dad was a first-round draft pick with the Arizona Cardinals from Penn State.
Oh.
Jimmy Kennedy.
Jimmy, yeah.
2002.
He wasn't bad.
He was pretty good, yeah. So he's pretty good. But, yeah, Devin's a guy who's got a great attitude. I see him improving every day. Cannon the same way. Cannon's done a really nice job, and he's a really, both those guys are good listeners, good detailed guys, and they're working hard in the weight room on top of it. So really excited about their futures.
That's great.
And then Brad's a younger guy first year, but been very, very pleased with him, too. He's got a tremendous attitude, great work ethic, and he's going to, my guess is he'll end up being a really good player for us.
Well, Cannon Leonard's hard to miss. 6'9", 310 pounds.
He definitely stands out there, that's for sure. Yeah, it's hard to walk by him and not be aware.
Back in the day, they would tell you, Herbie Wester was the exception, of course, that if you're over 6'7", 6'8", you can't play in the offensive line. It's too hard in your back to put your hand in the dirt. That is, in today's strength and conditioning world, that's not true.
It's a little different now, and yeah, you read my mind. Herb was the first really big guy that we had during the 80s, and he was big too back then, probably about 320, which was unheard of back in the 80s. And Herb had a great career here, just a tremendous guy, and just retired from being a state trooper. He had a long career as a state trooper down in the Mount Pleasant area. But, yeah, I think there are a lot of parallels between the guys. Cannon's extremely, just really good listener and very coachable, and he's taken a step every step of the way, and it's I'm anxious to see how things turn out for him.
Good deal from over in the Chicago area. So thanks for the question, Mark. Recruiting is always a hot topic. We'll take a break here. And as we go to break, let me remind you that John Deere loves to see the Hawkeyes do their thing, because if anyone can appreciate building a legacy, it's Deere. They've been growing their winning team since 1837. So whether you're cultivating the earth with a tractor or reshaping it with a 40-ton excavator, nothing runs like a Deere. John Deere, a proud sponsor. We're too proud. We're not only proud to have them, but we appreciate the support John Deere gives the Iowa Hawkeyes. A proud sponsor of Hawk Talk with Coach Ferentz here from View Rooftop. Back with more of your text messages, Facebook posts, and U.S. Cellular text messages in just a minute. This is Hawk Talk with Coach Ferentz from Learfield.
Can you think of anything that costs the same today as it did 10 years ago? There isn't much. That is, unless you're a Mid-American Energy customer. Thanks to all the renewable energy we're generating, our customers pay nearly the same rate for electricity today as they did back when we were all singing, "Call Me Maybe." And with Mid-American making even more investments in clean energy, you can count on enjoying those same affordable rates for the next decade. Now that's obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
Iowa fans, with US Mode from US Cellular, you can keep your eye on the game, not on your screen. Whether you're inside the stadium, tailgating in the lots, or listening to the game at home, US Cellular wants you to focus on genuine connections with your family, friends, and fellow Hawkeye fans. That means at game time, you should do less scrolling and more cheering. So eliminate distractions and build connections by setting your phone to US Mode, because game day is for cheering on the Hawkeyes. Go Hawks! US Cellular, built for us.
Fall's the season for game plans and for powering through your to-do list with Steel. Whether you're mulching leaves or trimming back before winter, Steel tools help you finish strong. Trusted by pros, built for you. Steel, proud supporter of the Iowa Hawkeyes.
You asked for all the extreme internet performance at an all-in price, and we listened. Get 1 gig internet with a 2-year price lock and everything included. Unlimited data for non-stop streaming, powerful Wi-Fi for enhanced coverage, built-in online threat protection, and internet equipment. All for just $65 a month for 2 years. It's the extreme 1 gig internet deal you asked for. Call 844-4FASTER or visit extreme.com for details. Offer available to new customers only. Price doesn't include one-time charges, tax, and government fees.
Cancer doesn't care. It doesn't care what you look like, how old you are, what you do, or where you live. We do. University of Iowa Healthcare is doing more to beat cancer than anyone in the state. From second opinions to life-saving treatments that happen here first. We lead the way in research, training, and care because we believe that UI Healthcare is here to make all of Iowa better. UI Healthcare, changing medicine, changing lives. Visit uihealthcare.org.
Back for our closing minutes with Coach Ferentz on Hawk Talk. Thank you all for coming out tonight. Thanks for tuning in on the Hawkeye Radio Network. Again, don't forget, View Rooftop would love to host you here Saturday. If you're not going to the game or don't have a ticket to the game, they'd love to host you with a table reservation. Please call 319-519-4650, 319-519-4650. You can also tailgate at Kinnick. That's right, literally the Kinnick Premium Tailgate presented by Navigate Wellbeing Solutions includes your tent, parking, cooler, and tables, all set up in the Krause Family Plaza right next door to where the Hawkeyes enter the gate. When they show up a couple hours before kickoff, you can cheer them on as they get off the bus. Just steps from kickoff. Don't miss it. Go to HawkeyeSports.com. How do you emphasize mental and physical preparation differently for this game compared to others? And what are the other specific messages you give your team for this big rivalry week?
Yeah, I mean, we treat pretty much, right, wrong, or indifferent, we treat every game pretty much the same. And, so you got 12 scheduled. And one thing I do know is in December, when they count them up, it really doesn't matter who you beat or who you lose to. The idea is to beat them all, and so we try to be consistent with it. We educate our guys, obviously. Each and every year we have a young player get up and give a report, and one of our guys did a great job this year, just today. But basically it goes through the history of, why it is Floyd or Roysdale and how it all originated and the governors and all that stuff. So, give an idea, and then just also let them know that, especially the guys that haven't played in the game, you'll feel the difference in intensity. It's a different deal. So you try to educate them that way, and the older guys do a good job of that as well. But in terms of how we practice, prepare, all that type of thing, we try not to overdo it. I mean, hopefully we do a consistent job week to week to week. Now we alter, but this is more on just where the team's at. If they're drained emotionally or drained physically, you try to alter schedules and those types of things. And now we're in the point of year, we're past midway, where we're, tweaking times a little bit and just our approach, that type of deal. A lot of variables that way, and that's part of our job to make good assessments and make good adjustments. But overall, the routine stays pretty quick, pretty much the same. And my experience is if you try to start pointing for certain games overboard, you're just going to ride the roller coaster, and it's really not what you're looking to do. So we're trying to take a consistent approach, and it goes back to last January. I mean, we all knew this. We had 12 games scheduled. You had no idea what time of day or, if it's going to be Friday or Saturday, but we knew we had 12 games scheduled. The challenge is to be ready to compete 12 times. And if you can do that, then you can, at least you give yourself a chance to be successful.
And whether it's Iowa State up in Madison or Minnesota, it's a trophy game.
Yeah,
so there's the hardware that might have a little bit more of an emphasis, but
there was no trophy last Saturday. It meant a whole lot to us. I'll promise you. So
maybe there will be in the future. That Penn State Iowa series has been the last 7 have been one-score games or something like that. 7 of the last 8.
I will say this: trophies, to me, what they mean is you won. So that's everything, and you want it. You want it in your building. So I think everybody in our organization understands that part of it. It is important for the right reason.
For sure. Hawk Talk with Coach Ferentz is brought to you tonight here at View Rooftop by Steel. Get your yard ready for the fall with the proven power of Steel's STIHL. Steel, from cleanups to cutbacks. We've got the tools to help you win the weekend. Steel, a proud supporter of the Iowa Hawkeyes. Coach, we got a couple minutes left. Time for another quick question or two. Carrie is in Wapello. I've been quite impressed, Kirk, by so many of your newer, younger players. Can you speak about the progress of transfer portal players like Jonah Pace and Bryce George and Sam Phillips, not to mention Mark Gronowski? Well, we know about Mark more than maybe the other guys, but Pace and Hawthorne have done a nice job of alternating at that defensive tackle.
Yeah, they really have in two different stories, with Pace being a graduate, so he's an older guy. This is his last year. And then Hawthorne's still got, he's a sophomore. So both of them have come in, transitioned really well. They're really coachable, work hard, all the right attributes, and both doing a good job for us. Jonah, unfortunately, won't be here next year, but you've got Bryce for 2 more years. So
terrific.
Just great young guys. You mentioned Sam Phillips, too, who's jumped in and really helped balance things out a little bit there and does a nice job at receiver.
Chattanooga choo-choo. We got 1 minute, Coach. Jim in Des Moines, question for Gary. By the way, before we leave, I got to wish happy birthday to Randy. Randy turns 71 tomorrow. Baby boomer like us, Kirk. Randy, where are you? Happy birthday, buddy. Congratulations. They're here in the building at View.
I can't see a thing with these lights, but anyway.
Yes. All right, Jim in Des Moines, Coach, in 10 seconds. Question for Gary and Coach. What impressed you guys the most about last week's game, other than you won?
Well, the crowd and then the effort, and just playing it right to the end.
On the field, I love our safeties. I love the way the safeties are coming on. And they'll come on some more on Saturday afternoon. Join us for Iowa, Minnesota, 2:30 from Kinnick. Good night, everybody.
This has been Hawk Talk, brought to you by Steel. This fall, power up with Steel, a proud supporter of the Iowa Hawkeyes. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. U.S. Cellular, the official wireless partner of the Iowa Hawkeyes. U.S. Cellular, built for us. Iowa corn. You might think Iowa just grows corn, but the truth is, corn grows Iowa. Brought to you by Iowa's corn farmers of the Iowa Corn Growers Association and the Iowa Corn Promotion Board. Also brought to you by your Iowa John Deere dealers. John Deere loves to see the Hawkeyes do their thing, because if anyone can appreciate building a legacy, it's Deere. By your local Ford dealers. University of Iowa Healthcare, changing medicine, changing lives. Linux and your local Linux home comfort specialist, made right here in Iowa since 1895. And by Mid-American Energy. Mid-American Energy is proud to deliver affordable, reliable energy to you all season long. The preceding has been a Learfield presentation on the Hawkeye Sports Network.